Welcome, dear dreamer, to Sleep with Stories, the place where your mind can rest, your heart can wander, and your imagination can take flight beneath a blanket of stars. Tonight, I invite you to close your eyes, slow your breathing, and let the outside world fade into a gentle hush. Here, there are no deadlines, no demands, only the promise of a journey woven from wonder, courage, and the quiet magic that lingers in the space between reality and dreams. As you settle in, feel the weight of the day melt away. Your bed becomes not just a place of rest, but a vessel, a small safe ship ready to sail across oceans of imagination. You are not alone on this voyage. I will be your storyteller, your guide, and your companion in the soft hours of the night. All you need to do is listen, drift, and follow where the story leads. And tonight's story is unlike any other. We will step into a realm suspended between heaven and earth, where floating islands sway gently in the clouds and ancient prophecies still whisper on the wind. There, in a place of celestial beauty known as Skylark Haven, lived a young woman named Briar Evangeline. For 23 years, she walked among shimmering gardens and rivers of light, her soul steeped in divine calm. But even in paradise, the heart can yearn for more, for the raw, unshaped beauty of the unknown. That yearning will lead Briar to descend from her ethereal home down to the wild, untamed earth below, where she meets Cade Maverick, a man of the land, weathered by challenge, guided by vision, and strong in both body and spirit. Together, they will forge an unlikely partnership, their hands meeting over a shared dream beneath alien skies. And from that dream, the first spark of something greater, something that could change worlds, will be born. But their journey will not be an easy one. You will walk beside them through forests dense with mystery, across mountains crowned in gold, and along rivers that sing with ancient voices. You will feel the cool night air as they rest by a fire, hear the rustle of leaves as unseen creatures pass, and witness the strange glow of a stone unlike any other, a stone that may hold the key to their destiny. So, as you sink deeper into your pillows, let the story wash over you like a warm tide. Breathe in the promise of adventure and breathe out the last of today's worries. By the time we reach the final words, perhaps you will be somewhere between wakefulness and dreams, traveling alongside Briar and Cade, following the pull of the celestial compass into a land where the impossible becomes real. Now, my friend, like and subscribe so you never miss another journey. Let us begin. The quiet hum of the newly forged connection reverberated between Briar and Cade as the last vestiges of Skylark Haven's protective shimmer faded behind them. They stood on a rugged expanse of earth, the air thick with the scent of damp soil and ancient forests, a stark contrast to the ethereal sweetness of Briar's former home. Briar, her luminous skin catching the dappled light filtering through an unfamiliar canopy, took a deep breath, a tremor of both apprehension and profound excitement running through her. Cade, ever pragmatic, scanned the horizon, his keen eyes already assessing the lay of the land, the distant rise of mountains, the winding path of a river. This world, Briar murmured, her voice a soft melody against the rustle of leaves. It pulses with a different kind of life. Cade nodded, his gaze returning to her, a flicker of understanding in his eyes. It's unforgiving but bountiful. You learn to read its signs, to listen to its whispers. He gestured towards a faint game trail. We start there. Always follow the path less traveled, but one that promises sustenance. Their initial days were a dance of adaptation. Briar, accustomed to the effortless provision of Skylark Haven, learned to discern edible berries from poisonous ones, to follow the tracks of deer, and to build a shelter from fallen branches and broad leaves. Her innate grace, once displayed in serene celestial movements, now translated into nimble steps across uneven terrain and a surprising efficiency in gathering resources. Cade, in turn, found himself explaining the intricacies of knot tying, the proper way to set a snare, the subtle art of starting a fire with flint and tinder. He watched, fascinated, as Briar's fingers, though delicate, quickly mastered the tasks, her inherent connection to the natural world seemingly accelerating her learning. She spoke of the trees as if they were old friends, understood the flow of water as if it were a song. One evening, as twilight bled across the sky, painting the clouds in hues of violet and gold, Briar was sorting through a pouch of curious stones Cade had collected near a dried riverbed. Her fingers brushed against a particularly smooth, obsidian-like pebble. As she held it, a faint internal glow emanated from within the stone, pulsing gently. It wasn't the soft, iridescent light of Skylark Haven, but a clear, steady luminescence that seemed to vibrate with an ancient energy. "What is this?" she asked, holding it up for Cade to see. Cade, who was sharpening a hunting knife by the meager firelight, paused. He took the stone, turning it over in his calloused palm. The glow intensified slightly, casting dancing shadows on his rugged features. "Never seen anything like it," he admitted, his brow furrowed in thought. "It feels alive." As he spoke, the light within the stone flared once, then dimmed, pointing distinctly towards a particular direction in the darkening wilderness. Briar gasped, "It's a guide." They spent the next few days testing the stone. They called it the celestial compass. It didn't point north or east or any cardinal direction known to mortals. Instead, its inherent glow consistently oriented towards what Briar sensed were paths aligned with ancient prophecies and divine favor. It was subtle, sometimes only a faint throb, other times a clear, unwavering beam, but it was always there, a silent cosmic whisper guiding their footsteps. "It knows where we need to go," Briar declared one morning, watching the compass pull them towards a dense thicket of unfamiliar trees. Not just any path, but the path. Cade, initially skeptical of anything beyond the tangible, couldn't deny the compass's uncanny accuracy. It led them to hidden springs of fresh water when their own flasks ran dry, guided them through treacherous mountain passes that seemed to open just for them, and once even steered them away from a raging river just hours before a sudden flash flood made it impassable. He began to trust it implicitly, recognizing its value as a tool as vital as his axe or his hunting skills. Their journey became less about mere survival and more about discovery, driven by the compass's enigmatic purpose. They traversed vast plains where the wind sang ancient songs, climbed craggy peaks that offered breathtaking panoramas, and navigated dense, silent forests where sunlight struggled to penetrate. Briar, with her empathetic connection to the land, often sensed the subtle shifts in the environment, the hidden signs of life or danger, complementing Cade's practical knowledge of tracking and survival. She could soothe agitated animals with a gentle touch, or sense the subtle change in the air before a storm, allowing them to seek shelter just in time. As they pressed on, the scope of their mission began to crystallize. The compass, with its ethereal glow, wasn't just leading them to safety. It was leading them to a place, a specific location where their shared dream could take root. The whispers from the heavens, faint at first, grew clearer to Briar, outlining a vision of a grand city, a beacon of civilization. It would be a place where human resilience and divine inspiration could converge, a testament to the harmony of seemingly opposing forces. Their solitude, though profound, eventually began to wane. The compass led them towards scattered groups of other pioneers, hardy souls who, like Cade, had left their ancestral lands in search of new beginnings. These were families and individuals, weary from their own journeys, some disillusioned, others clinging to fragile hopes. Cade, with his natural leadership and quiet wisdom, quickly earned their respect. He offered practical advice, shared his knowledge of hunting and building, and helped mediate disputes. Briar, with her serene demeanor and luminous presence, seemed to inspire a quiet hope in them. Her eyes, deep and insightful, held a wisdom that transcended their earthly struggles, and her gentle words often calmed their fears. Among these disparate groups was a family of skilled weavers, the Alara clan, who knew how to turn raw flax into durable cloth. A solitary gruff stonemason named Kale, whose hands were as strong as the rocks he shaped, and a small band of resourceful prospectors, the Thorn brothers, who had a knack for finding valuable minerals. They were all searching for something more, a place to belong, to build. Cade and Briar decided to share their vision, the nascent idea of a grand city, a place where everyone could contribute their unique talents. They spoke of a city built, not just on strength, but on cooperation, a place designed for sustainable growth, where water flowed freely and land was shared equitably. The celestial compass, glowing steadily in Briar's palm, served as a powerful, unspoken endorsement, its mystery captivating even the most cynical among the pioneers. It suggested a destiny, a purpose beyond mere survival. The compass finally settled, its glow reaching a crescendo on a vast, untouched valley. It was a place of breathtaking natural beauty and immense strategic advantage. A mighty river, the River Aster, flowed through its heart, ensuring a perpetual source of fresh water. To the west, the foothills of the Azure Peaks promised stone and timber. To the east, sprawling plains offered fertile soil for cultivation. It was a confluence of resources, a place where a city could not only survive but truly flourish. This was the Promised Land, the location for Constellatio Nova. The air thrummed with excitement and a palpable sense of destiny as the pioneers surveyed the valley. But building a city from the wilderness was a monumental task, one that tested the limits of human endurance. The initial days were brutal. Trees had to be felled, land cleared, foundations dug. Mosquitoes swarmed, unexpected storms rolled in from the mountains, and the sheer scale of the undertaking threatened to overwhelm even the most resolute among them. Cade, with his unwavering resolve and inspiring leadership, was everywhere. He organized work parties, taught inexperienced hands how to wield an axe or shovel, and designed the initial layout of the settlement. His voice, though often gruff, carried the weight of experience and determination, cutting through despair. He worked alongside everyone, his hands already calloused, growing even tougher. He ensured every person had a task, a purpose, a sense of belonging in this ambitious endeavor. He established clear protocols for resource management, for waste disposal, for defense, envisioning not just temporary shelters, but a lasting, functional community. He laid out the pathways for what would become Constellatio Nova's intricate waterways, channeling the River Aster's flow to ensure clean water for every district and for irrigation. Briar, meanwhile, became the spiritual heart of the fledgling community. She moved among the weary workers, her presence a calming balm. She offered words of encouragement, shared stories of celestial harmony that inspired awe and renewed purpose. Her luminous skin seemed to glow brighter under the setting sun, a constant reminder of the divine blessing upon their efforts. She found innovative ways to solve problems, often intuitively. When a well-digging team hit a stubborn layer of rock, Briar would subtly guide them to a nearby spot where a subterranean spring lay just beneath the surface, saving days of arduous labor. She introduced the concept of communal gardens, encouraging the cultivation of varied crops that would enrich the soil and provide diverse sustenance. She showed the weavers how to use certain native plants to create dyes of unprecedented vibrancy, and she helped Kale select the most stable rock formations for the city's foundational walls. Her contributions were not just practical, they were transformational. She brought a sense of inherent order and beauty to the rough and tumble construction. She suggested grand central plazas not just as gathering places, but as spaces for contemplation and communal celebration. She envisioned the intertwining of innovative and sturdy mortal architecture with subtly infused divine inspiration, the way the buildings would align with the celestial patterns, the placement of sacred groves within the city limits, the design of fountains that would reflect the constellations at night. As the first permanent structures began to rise, sturdy timber homes, communal halls, storage sheds, the pioneers started to call themselves the Star Seekers. They saw themselves as more than just settlers. They were architects of a new world, guided by a celestial beacon. The challenges were relentless. Raiding parties from nomadic tribes, drawn by the increasing activity in the valley, tested their defenses. Wild animals, displaced by the construction, sometimes posed threats. Illnesses, unfamiliar to these early pioneers, swept through the camp. During these trials, the distinct strengths of Briar and Cade became even more apparent. Cade rallied the people, organizing defenses, training watchmen, and leading hunting parties to ensure the community was fed. He was a rock of unwavering resolve, his determination infectious. When a fever swept through the camp, threatening to halt all progress, Cade tirelessly nursed the sick, his practical knowledge of herbal remedies and hygiene saving many lives. Briar, on the other hand, brought a different kind of strength. Her divine heritage allowed her to soothe the anxieties that often gripped the community during times of crisis. She would walk among the ailing, a soft light emanating from her, bringing a sense of peace and often a surprising recovery. She seemed to draw strength from the very stars, radiating hope when spirits flagged. She fostered unity, reminding them of their shared dream and the divine favor that had brought them to this land. She spoke of Commander Orion not as a distant, stern deity, but as a watchful, protective presence, ensuring that their efforts, though arduous, were part of a grander design. She explained that even a deity associated with strength and conflict could play a pivotal role in creation and foundation, guiding their path from afar. One particularly harsh winter threatened to break their spirits. Supplies dwindled, and the cold was relentless. Morale plummeted. Briar, witnessing the despair, sat one night with a celestial compass. Its glow was faint, flickering, reflecting the dimming hopes of the people. She closed her eyes, reaching out, not with her hands, but with her very essence towards the heavens. She felt a profound connection, a deep resonance with her divine lineage. When she opened her eyes, the compass pulsed with a vibrant, almost urgent light, pointing towards a hidden cave system deep within the azure peaks. The next morning, despite the biting cold, Briar approached Cade. "The compass shows a path," she said, her voice filled with newfound certainty. "A hidden bounty within the mountains." Cade, though exhausted, trusted her implicitly now. He gathered a small, hardened group, and together they braved the snow-choked passes, guided by the compass's unwavering beam. Inside the cave, they discovered not gold or precious gems, but a vast underground spring of thermal water and a cavern rich with nutrient-rich fungi and edible roots, enough to sustain the community through the rest of the winter. It was a clear sign, a miracle, reinforcing the belief that their venture was truly blessed. As the seasons turned, Constellatio Nova began to truly take shape. The initial timber structures gave way to more permanent buildings of stone and reinforced wood. A central plaza, the Nexus Square, began to form, paved with smooth river stones. Intricate waterways, fed by the River Aster, now wound through the burgeoning city, providing clean water and even serving as transport routes for goods within the city's heart. Community-focused districts emerged, the artisans' quarter where craftsmen plied their trades, The hearthstone ward for families, the Whisperwind Gardens where Briar had overseen the planting of medicinal herbs and fragrant flowers. The city wasn't just a collection of buildings. It was a living, breathing entity, a testament to the unexpected harmony that emerged from the union of divine power and human resilience, order and exploration. It was a place where mortals, guided by a divine presence, had created something magnificent from nothing. Finally, the day came for the Zenith Cornerstone dedication. The city, though still growing, was ready to be formally consecrated, to stand as the foundational moment for future civilizations. The air was filled with the murmur of hundreds of voices, a mix of reverence and joyful anticipation. The sky seekers, dressed in their finest, often self-made garments, gathered in the Nexus Square. At the heart of the plaza, a massive, perfectly cut block of granite stood, gleaming faintly in the morning sun. It was the Zenith Cornerstone, chosen by Briar and quarried and shaped by Kale and his team. Its surface inscribed with ancient symbols of unity and prosperity that Briar had revealed. The celestial compass, glowing brighter than ever, was placed atop it, its light illuminating the intricate carvings. Cade stood beside the cornerstone, his rugged features softened by a quiet pride. He addressed the assembled people, his voice, strong and clear, resonating with the hard-won wisdom of their journey. We came here with nothing but hope and grit. We faced trials that could have broken us, but we stood together, Starseekers. We built this city brick by brick, dream by dream. He paused, his gaze sweeping over the faces, resting briefly on Briar. This city, Constellatio Nova, is a testament to what we can achieve when we unite. It is a beacon not just for us, but for all who will come after. Then Briar stepped forward. Her ethereal glow seemed to intensify, radiating warmth and serenity. She placed her hands on the Zenith Cornerstone, her fingers tracing the celestial symbols. "This stone," she began, her voice carrying a profound resonance that seemed to echo from the heavens themselves, is more than just granite. It is the heart of our shared aspiration, the anchor of our future. It represents the enduring love that bound us, the collaborative spirit that guided our hands, and the transformative power of a dream shared between mortals and the divine. As she spoke, a soft golden light enveloped the cornerstone, flowing from her touch, merging with the glow of the celestial compass. It spread outwards, touching every person gathered in the square, filling the air with a palpable sense of peace and profound purpose. It was a blessing, a divine anointing upon the very first grand city. The crowd erupted in cheers, a joyous cacophony of voices celebrating their monumental achievement. Children laughed, elders wept tears of joy, and every face was upturned, gazing at the cornerstone, at Briar, and at the sky above, now filled with the promise of endless possibilities. Constellatio Nova stood magnificent and vibrant, its innovative architecture harmonizing with the natural landscape, its waterways flowing with life, its plazas ready for generations of stories. It was a city born of divine destiny and mortal ambition, a place where the unexpected harmony of differing worlds had laid the bedrock for future civilizations. Under a sky filled with dreams, the first great city was not just a settlement. It was a living monument to a shared dream, an enduring love, and the profound, beautiful origins of a new world. Like and subscribe for more Greek bedtime stories. The Zenith Cornerstone, still warm with the lingering touch of Briar's blessing, hummed softly at the heart of Nexus Square. Its glow, gentle and persistent, diffused through the dawn mist that often embraced Constellatio Nova in the early hours. The celebration of its dedication had stretched long into the night, a symphony of shared laughter, triumphant shouts, and the hopeful whispers of dreams finally taking root. Now, as the first rays of the sun painted the eastern peaks in hues of rose and gold. A new day dawned not just for the city, but for the very concept of human civilization. Life in Constellatio Nova, even in its earliest days as a recognized city, settled into a rhythm of industrious purpose and communal harmony. The initial frenetic energy of construction, while still ever present, was now channeled with greater precision. The pioneering spirit of the Starseekers hadn't waned. It had simply matured, evolving from raw survival into the thoughtful art of building a lasting society. Cade, ever the pragmatist, was the first to rise each morning, his footsteps echoing through the quiet pathways of the nascent city. He would inspect the progress on the nascent defensive walls, consult with Kale, the gruff stonemason, on new quarrying techniques, and oversee the expansion of the intricate waterways that now crisscross the districts. The River Aster, once merely a boundary, had become the city's lifeblood, channeled through cleverly designed aqueducts and conduits that ensured clean water reached every hearth and garden. His vision for sustainable growth was meticulous. Every new structure, every new plot of land allocated, considered for its long-term impact. He worked tirelessly, his strong hands guiding, building, correcting. His presence was a constant, reassuring anchor, his quiet wisdom guiding decisions both grand and mundane. Briar, on the other hand, brought a different kind of structure to their burgeoning society. While Kat focused on the tangible, she nurtured the intangible. She spent her mornings in the Whisperwind Gardens, where the medicinal herbs she had encouraged the cultivation of now thrived, their fragrances mingling with the sweet scent of blooming flowers. Here, she taught the city's burgeoning healers the subtle art of combining ancient remedies with a deeper understanding of the body's own restorative powers. Her touch, still imbued with a faint ethereal warmth, seemed to accelerate healing, and her calm demeanor often soothed even the most fevered brow. Her influence extended far beyond the gardens. She fostered the arts, encouraging the Alara clan of weavers to create not just sturdy cloth, but tapestries that told the story of their journey, their struggles, and their triumphs, adorning the walls of communal halls. She guided the city's fledgling scholars, inspiring them to record their history, to chart the constellations, and to understand the natural world with both scientific rigor and a sense of wonder. Under her gentle guidance, Constellatio Nova began to develop its own unique cultural identity, a blend of mortal ingenuity and divine inspiration. The city's central plazas were not just marketplaces, but vibrant spaces for storytelling, music, and communal dances, where the laughter of children mingled with the wisdom of elders. The celestial compass, no longer needed for pointing the way to a specific destination, found its permanent home within the zenith cornerstone, its gentle glow a perpetual reminder of their divine guidance. Its light pulsed in subtle rhythm with the city's energy, brightening during times of collective joy or significant achievement, dimming slightly when challenges arose, a silent cosmic barometer of Constellatio Nova's well-being. As the city flourished, so did its population. Word of Constellatio Nova, a beacon of order and prosperity in the vast wilderness, spread far and wide. Caravans of new settlers, drawn by the promise of a stable home and a shared vision, arrived weekly. They brought with them diverse skills and experiences, master carpenters from the northern forests, innovative potters from the riverlands, even a few itinerant scholars who had dedicated their lives to deciphering ancient texts. Each arrival was greeted with warmth and an organized process for integration. Cade established a fair system for land allocation and resource distribution, ensuring that every new family had a place and a purpose. Briar, in turn, worked to integrate them culturally, sharing the stories of their journey, helping them find their voice within the growing chorus of Constellatio Nova. One of the greatest challenges of this rapid expansion was maintaining unity. Diverse backgrounds often led to differing opinions on governance, resource management, and even social customs. Minor disputes arose, fueled by weariness or ingrained habits from old ways of life. It was during these times that the complementary strengths of Briar and Cade proved invaluable. Cade, with his pragmatic approach, would call for town hall meetings in the Nexus Square. He would listen patiently, his keen eyes observing the nuances of each argument. He would then propose practical solutions, often drawing on his vast experience in navigating the wilderness and building temporary camps. He established a council of elders composed of respected members from various original pioneer groups and new arrivals to help arbitrate disputes and advise on civic matters. His leadership was firm but fair, rooted in common sense and a deep respect for individual contribution. Briar, however, addressed the deeper currents of discord. She understood that many conflicts stemmed from fear, from the lingering uncertainties of a world that was still wild and unpredictable. She would gather the people in the tranquil Whisperwind Gardens or under the protective boughs of the sacred grove she had helped establish. There she would speak of unity, of the grand design that had brought them together, reminding them that their shared dream was far greater than any individual disagreement. Her words, imbued with a quiet power, resonated with a sense of divine truth, often dissolving tensions and fostering a renewed spirit of cooperation. She would speak at Commander Orion, not just as a god of strength, but as a cosmic architect whose very essence embodied the structured creation of constellations, reminding them that even the universe was built on ordered principles and interconnectedness. She explained that Aura, the goddess of grace, imbued their city with beauty and harmonious flow, ensuring that Constellation Nova was not merely functional but aesthetically profound. As the city expanded, its layout evolved beyond initial necessity. Briar's vision, subtly infused with divine patterns, began to manifest in the very fabric of Constellation Nova. The pathways were designed to mimic the gentle curves of rivers, and the placement of public buildings often aligned with celestial bodies, catching the first light of dawn or framing the setting sun. The artisan's quarter, bustling with the clang of hammers and the hum of looms, became a vibrant hub of innovation, producing tools, textiles, and art that were both functional and beautiful. The Hearthstone Ward, a maze of cozy homes and shared courtyards, resonated with the laughter of children and the aroma of communal meals. One season, a particularly dry spell threatened the newly planted crops. The River Aster, though mighty, seemed to diminish, its flow sluggish. Panic began to ripple through the farming community. Cade immediately organized teams to dig deeper wells, but the ground was stubborn and yields were low. Briar, observing the wilting plants, consulted the celestial compass. Its glow, usually steady, now pulsed with a faint rhythmic urgency, pointing towards a section of the azure peaks they had yet to thoroughly explore. There's a hidden spring, a source untouched, Briar declared to Cade one evening, her eyes alight. With conviction, the compass shows it, a deep vein of water, within the mountains, pure and abundant. Cade, though a man of logic and experience, had learned to trust Briar's unique intuition, especially when guided by the compass. He assembled a specialized expedition team comprised of the Thorn brothers, whose prospecting skills were unparalleled, and Kale, the stonemason, whose knowledge of rock formations would be crucial. They embarked on a difficult journey into the high peaks, navigating treacherous narrow paths and dense undergrowth. Days turned into weeks, supplies dwindled. The terrain became increasingly challenging. Doubt began to creep into the minds of the team. Just as they were considering turning back, the celestial compass, clutched in Briar's hand, flared with an intense, unwavering light. illuminating a concealed crevice in the mountainside. Inside, after hours of careful excavation, hail struck. Rock and a torrent of clear, cold water burst forth, gushing from the mountain's heart. It was a spring indeed, more powerful than any they had yet encountered. They spent weeks channeling its flow, using their combined knowledge to construct a new series of aqueducts that would eventually merge with the River Aster, supplementing its flow and ensuring a permanent, abundant water supply for Constellatio Nova, even during the driest seasons. This mountain spring became a legendary source, a testament to the compass's enduring guidance and their shared perseverance. The discovery cemented the city's reputation for resilience and divine favor. It wasn't just human effort, but a blend of human ingenuity and celestial insight that ensured their prosperity. With water secured, Constellatio Nova truly began to flourish. Trade routes, once precarious trails, were now widened and made safer, connecting the city to distant settlements that had heard tales of its abundance. Goods flowed in and out, rare spices from the southern deserts, sturdy timber from the northern forests, and in return, the finely crafted tools and exquisite textiles of Constellatio Nova. Briar, observing the growing complexity of their society, turned her attention to education. She understood that a city built on a grand vision needed minds capable of carrying that vision forward. She established the Academy of Constellations, a place where young minds were encouraged to explore not just practical skills, but also philosophy, astronomy, and the stories of their origins. She personally taught lessons on the celestial patterns, guiding students to see the interconnectedness of all things. Just as she had been taught in Skylark Haven, her teachings instilled a sense of purpose beyond individual gain, emphasizing communal responsibility and the pursuit of knowledge for the betterment of all. Cade, meanwhile, was focused on long-term security and expansion. He oversaw the construction of granaries large enough to withstand years of famine and strengthen the city's outer walls, incorporating innovative defensive strategies that anticipated future challenges. He also initiated a program of responsible exploration, sending out small, well-equipped teams to map the surrounding territories, identify new resources, and establish friendly relations with any indigenous groups they encountered. His foresight ensured that Constellatio Nova would not just survive, but thrive and expand its influence peacefully. Their shared journey, once a desperate trek for survival, had blossomed into a profound partnership. Briar and Cade, divine inspiration and mortal resilience, truly were the dual architects of Constellatio Nova. Their bond was one of mutual respect, deep understanding, and an unspoken affection born of shared trials and triumphs. They knew each other's strengths and weaknesses, implicitly anticipating needs before they were voiced, complementing each other in every aspect of their leadership. As the years passed, Constellatio Nova grew from a pioneering settlement into a true grand city, a beacon of civilization in the ancient world. Its stone buildings, infused with subtle, elegant curves and celestial alignments suggested by Briar, stood strong against the elements. Its waterways, a marvel of engineering, flowed freely, a testament to Cade's meticulous planning. The Nexus Square, now bustling with thousands, echoed with the vibrant life of a thriving community. Children born within its walls knew no other home, inheriting the spirit of cooperation and innovation that defined their city. They heard stories of Briar's ethereal grace and Cade's unwavering strength, tales that were already becoming the foundational myths of their new world. The city's influence stretched for miles around, creating a network of smaller villages and farms that looked to Constellatio Nova for guidance and protection. Its principles of sustainable growth and communal prosperity became a model for others. The legacy of Briar and Cade wasn't just in the physical structures they built, but in the enduring spirit they instilled. They had shown that true strength lay not in dominance, but in collaboration. that progress was not about conquering nature, but about harmonizing with it, and that the greatest achievements arose when mortal ambition was guided by divine purpose. Briar, though her luminous skin and ethereal glow remained, seemed to grow more grounded with each passing year, her divine essence now deeply intertwined with the human world she had chosen to embrace. She walked among the people not as a distant goddess, but as a beloved leader, her wisdom accessible, her empathy boundless. Her eyes, still deep and insightful, now held the stories of countless human lives, the joys and sorrows that had shaped their collective journey. Cade, his face now etched with the lines of time and experience, remained the bedrock of Constellatio Nova. His hands, still calloused, continued to work, whether guiding a new construction project or simply tending to the community gardens alongside. Others, he had built more than a city. He had built a legacy of enduring resilience, a testament to the power of human spirit when focused on a shared noble goal. His quiet wisdom had grown into a profound understanding of human nature, guiding his decisions with both logic and compassion. One serene evening, many years after the cornerstone dedication, Briar and Cade stood together on a high vantage point overlooking Constellatio Nova. The city lights twinkled below them, a constellation on the earthly plane mirroring the stars. Above, the air was cool and crisp, carrying the distant murmur of life from the city. The zenith cornerstone in the Nexus Square pulsed with a soft, steady glow, a comforting heartbeat. "It's more beautiful than I ever imagined," Briar murmured, her voice soft with contentment, her gaze sweeping over the sprawling, vibrant metropolis, a true harmony. Cade placed a hand on her shoulder, a rare, tender gesture. "We built it," he said, his voice tinged with pride. "All of us, with the blessings you brought." He looked at her, his keen eyes reflecting the city's distant lights. "The whispers from the heavens, the prophecies, they truly led us to this, to each other, to this place." Briar smiled, a luminous, serene expression. "They did." Commander Orion's gaze, often seen as stern, truly guided us towards creation, not just conflict. His love, unconventional as it seemed, shaped this foundation. She paused, her gaze drifting towards the distant horizon, where the azure peaks met the star-dusted sky. "This city is our promise kept, a place where human spirit and divine destiny intertwine, laying the bedrock for all that is to come." Constellatio Nova stood, not just as the first grand city, but as a living, breathing testament to enduring love, collaborative spirit, and the transformative power of a shared dream. It was a civilization built on the principles of unity and foresight, a beacon that would inspire countless generations. Under a sky filled with dreams, its legacy was just beginning, stretching far into the future, a vibrant tapestry woven from mortal ambition and the grace of the divine. Like and subscribe for more Greek bedtime stories. The quiet contemplation overlooking Constellatio Nova that evening was merely a prelude, a deep breath taken before the true symphony of ages began. The city below, a constellation etched onto. The earth truly was just at the cusp of its sprawling narrative. The legacy, still nascent, began to unfurl across generations, proving the enduring power of its founding vision. Decades flowed into centuries. The principles Briar and Cade had meticulously woven into the fabric of Constellatio Nova were not static commandments, but living guidelines, adaptable and robust. The Academy of Constellations, under Briar's sustained patronage, blossomed into a renowned center of learning, attracting scholars and thinkers from distant lands. Its curriculum, originally focused on celestial navigation and practical sciences, expanded to encompass the profound philosophies of governance, the ethics of communal living, and the intricate art of maintaining harmony between human ambition and the natural world. Debates on civic duty and the pursuit of knowledge echoed through its sun-drenched courtyards, guided by the very spirit of inquiry Briar had instilled. Cade, though no longer directly overseeing every stone laid or every aqueduct dug, remained the city's unwavering anchor, his quiet wisdom honed by decades of direct experience and observation of human nature became legendary. He transitioned from a pragmatic leader to a revered elder. His counsel sought on matters of trade, diplomacy, and the nuanced application of justice. He chaired the Council of Elders, now a formalized body representing every district and every major trade, ensuring that the voice of the common citizen was heard and valued. His approach remained rooted in fairness and the long-term well-being of the collective, often mediating disputes with a calm logic that disarmed even the most heated arguments. Constellatio Nova, once a solitary beacon, grew into the heart of a vast network. The smaller villages and farms that had initially looked to it for protection now formed a vibrant confederation, united by shared principles and a common purpose. Roads, once rudimentary trails, transformed into wide, paved arteries, facilitating the flow of goods, ideas, and people. Caravans from the far reaches of the known world regularly arrived at its gates, bringing exotic spices, rare metals, and new knowledge, while carrying away Constellatio Nova's renowned tools, exquisite textiles, and, most importantly, its pioneering spirit and governance models. Yet prosperity brought its own set of challenges. The initial fervor of building and survival gradually gave way to periods of complacency. New generations born into comfort and abundance sometimes struggled to grasp the sacrifices and ingenuity that had forged their secure existence. Minor schisms occasionally emerged, fueled by differing interpretations of the founder's principles, or by the inherent human inclination towards individual gain over collective good. It was in these times of subtle erosion, rather than overt conflict, that Briar's and Cade's enduring presence became most vital. Briar, her ethereal glow undiminished, found new ways to reignite the communal flame. She would orchestrate grand festivals, aligning them with celestial events, where the story of Constellatio Nova's founding was retold not as a mere historical account, but as a living myth. Performers enacted the perilous journey, the struggle against the elements, the fated meeting of the divine and the mortal. These immersive experiences served as powerful reminders of their shared origins, fostering a renewed sense of unity and purpose among the citizens. She initiated civic projects focused on beauty and shared spaces, new gardens, public art installations, and magnificent communal halls, each designed to evoke the harmony and grace that Aura embodied. Her touch, still gentle and guiding, ensured that the city's soul remained vibrant and connected to its divine inspiration. Cade, meanwhile, would address the practical drift. When a trade dispute threatened to fester or a resource allocation system proved inequitable, he would call upon the citizens to return to first principles. He organized regular community forums, not just for problem solving, but for philosophical discussions on the meaning of sustainable growth and collective prosperity in an ever-changing world. He implemented systems of accountability and transparency, ensuring that corruption, however small, could not take root. He emphasized that true freedom came not from unbridled individualism, but from a responsible participation in the community's well-being. His pragmatic approach ensured that the city's foundations, while allowing for natural evolution, never strayed too far from the bedrock of its original values. He would remind them of Commander Orion's stern yet constructive gaze, a force that brought order and structure to the cosmos, mirroring the discipline required to maintain a thriving civilization. The celestial compass, still nestled within the zenith cornerstone, continued its silent vigil. Its light, once a guiding beam through the wilderness, now acted as a subtle gauge of the city's collective harmony. Its pulse would deepen when the city faced internal strife and brighten when a consensus was reached or a significant cultural achievement was unveiled. It became an unspoken oracle, a silent reminder that their endeavors were still under the benevolent, if sometimes challenging, watch of the heavens. It represented the eternal bond between Constellatio Nova and the divine realms, a constant hum beneath the surface of mortal life. As generations passed, the physical form of Constellatio Nova continued to evolve. The earliest, more rudimentary, structures were replaced by grander edifices of stone and gleaming metals, yet always retaining the flowing organic lines Breyer had subtly inspired. The intricate waterways, a marvel of engineering perfected by Cade's initial designs, now powered mills, cooled homes, and supplied elaborate public fountains that sculpted water into mesmerizing forms. The city was a living organism, constantly rebuilding, refining, and expanding, yet always retaining its core identity. Its architects studied the alignment of stars and seasons, ensuring that new districts breathed with the same celestial harmony as the first foundational stones. Sculptors carved myths of the city's origins into public monuments, illustrating the journey from humble beginnings to enduring grandeur. Breyer and Cade themselves, in a way that defied mortal comprehension, seemed to transcend the ordinary passage of time. While their faces bore the gentle marks of countless seasons, their vitality and sharpness of mind remained undiminished. It was whispered that Breyer's divine heritage allowed her to subtly slow the relentless march of time for herself and for Cade, who remained ever by her side. Intertwined with her destiny, they became living legends, revered figures who had walked with the very first pioneers and continued to guide the descendants of those who had built Constellatio Nova. Children would point them out in the Nexus Square, hushed whispers following their every movement, as if beholding gods walking among mortals. Their presence was a living bridge to the past, a guarantee of continuity, and a source of immeasurable comfort. Their personal bond, forged in the crucible of shared adversity and grand ambition, deepened into an unspoken language of understanding. They moved as one, their thoughts often mirroring each other, their complementary strengths forming a perfect whole. Breyer would often speak of the future, of the possibilities of human spirit guided by enlightened wisdom, her eyes reflecting distant cosmic light. Cade would ground her visions in practical realities, his steady gaze affirming what was achievable and sustainable, ensuring that dreams were built on solid ground. They were the enduring sun and moon of Constellatio Nova, guiding its days and illuminating its nights. The city's influence began to extend beyond mere trade and governance models. Philosophers from Constellatio Nova traveled to other burgeoning settlements, sharing the unique blend of divine insight and moral pragmatism that defined their civilization. Their teachings on harmonious coexistence, sustainable living, and the pursuit of knowledge found fertile ground in many lands. Constellatio Nova became synonymous with enlightened progress, a shining example that true power lay not in conquest, but in collaborative creation, and that the greatest empires were built not on dominion, but on shared values. One particularly severe winter, unlike any in living memory, gripped the land. The river Aster froze solid and snowdrifts buried pathways. Supplies dwindled in outlying villages, threatening widespread famine. Fear, a primordial shadow, began to creep even into the resilient heart of Constellatio Nova. The city's granaries, built to Cade's specifications for years of plenty, were still bountiful, but the challenge was reaching those beyond the city walls. Breyer and Cade, standing on the observation deck, overlooking the snow-choked landscape, felt the collective anxiety of their people. Breyer, her hand resting on the smooth, polished surface of a map table, looked at Cade, The path to the high reaches is impassable, she stated, her voice calm but imbued with urgency. And the southern plains villages are isolated. Many will perish if we cannot reach them. Cade nodded, his brow furrowed. He had already dispatched numerous teams, but the blizzards had turned them back. We need a way to move goods where no wagon can travel, no animal can trek, he murmured, his mind already racing through possibilities. Briar closed her eyes, a faint luminescence emanating from her. She consulted the whispers, the subtle energies that permeated the world, remnants of her celestial home. When her eyes opened, they held a spark of inspiration. The sky, she whispered. Commander Orion's strength is not just in solid foundations, but in the vastness of the heavens. Aura's grace is in the unseen currents of the air. Over the next weeks, under their combined, desperate guidance, the citizens of Constellation Nova performed a feat of ingenuity that would become another cornerstone of their legend. Inspired by Briar's visions of air currents and Cade's pragmatic understanding of mechanics, they crafted immense, lightweight structures of woven wood and stretched hide, designed to harness the wind. Guided by the celestial compass, which pulsed with a vibrant, urgent light they discovered previously unknown. Updrafts within the azure peaks, these sky barges, as they came to be known, fragile yet robust, carried essential supplies over the impassable snow, reaching the isolated communities just in time. The daring operation, requiring immense courage and precise navigation, saved countless lives and solidified Constellation Nova's reputation as a city that could overcome any obstacle, drawing on both human ingenuity and subtle divine inspiration. It was a testament to their collaborative spirit, a new chapter in the ongoing narrative of their unique harmony. As the centuries stretched further, Constellation Nova became a living monument to its celestial origins. Its stories, once tales, whispered around hearths, became sacred texts, studied by generations. The figures of Briar and Cade, while still physically present, merged with the city's identity, their lives intertwining so completely with its narrative that they became indistinguishable from its very essence. They embodied the city's enduring spirit, Briar, the eternal embodiment of grace, wisdom, and the interconnectedness of all things. Cade, the enduring symbol of human resilience, pragmatic leadership, and unwavering dedication. Finally, after millennia had passed and Constellation Nova stood as the undisputed cradle of civilization, a vibrant, sprawling metropolis whose influence touched every corner of the known world, a serene quietude began to settle upon its two eternal founders. Their work was done. The city they had envisioned, built, and nurtured had not only endured but thrived beyond all mortal expectation. Its principles were woven into the very fabric of global society. One clear, star-dusted night, Briar and Cade stood once more on their beloved vantage point, overlooking the twinkling expanse of Constellation Nova. The zenith cornerstone pulsed with a gentle, steady light, a silent heartbeat. The air hummed with the collective life of countless generations. Briar leaned her head against Cade's shoulder, a gesture of profound contentment. The tapestry is complete, she whispered, her voice like the soft rustle of wind through ancient trees, a promise fulfilled beyond our wildest dreams. Cade looked at her, his keen eyes, still bright, reflecting the myriad lights of the city. It will endure, he said, his voice a low, steady rumble, carrying the weight of ages. Because we built it not just with stone and vision, but with spirit and with love. As the first rays of dawn painted the azure peaks, a subtle transformation began. Briar's luminous form, always hinting at the divine, began to diffuse, not fading, but becoming one with the light of the morning sky. Her essence mingled with the crisp air, the fragrant gardens, the very light that touched every stone of Constellation Nova, She was becoming the pervasive grace, the subtle harmony, the wisdom that permeated the city's soul, ever present but unseen. Cade, holding her hand, felt his own form soften, his calloused hands turning to the strength of earth, his steady presence becoming the bedrock beneath the city. He became the enduring resilience, the quiet strength, the pragmatic wisdom that anchored Constellatio Nova. He was the enduring stone, the flowing water, the unwavering spirit of human endeavor, forever bound to the city he had built. They could not vanish, but rather became intrinsic elements of Constellatio Nova itself, woven into its very existence. Their love, their vision, their complementary strengths now permeated every brick, every waterway, every whispered dream within its walls. The city was their living legacy, a testament to the unexpected harmony that emerged from the union of divine power and human resilience. Constellatio Nova, the very first grand city, stood not merely as a place, but as a perpetual story, a living myth under a sky filled with dreams. Its origins, born from the celestial and nurtured by the mortal, continued to inspire, a beacon of civilization's true potential, eternally blossoming in the embrace of Commander Orion's structured might and Duchess Aura's luminous grace. The tale of Briar and Cade and the city they forged became the foundational narrative for all humanity, whispered from generation to generation, a bedtime story promising that even the grandest dreams could take root, flourish, and endure forever. Like and subscribe for more Greek bedtime stories.